Hello everybody, I'm Charlie Cummins here on Phoenix Masonry Training Center. I had a lot of response about the video we made about the old man races the mule. I had bricklayers and masonry contractors contact me and want to know how I'm going to beat the mule. Well, I'm an open book, so I don't mind telling everybody. This is something I started contracting in '75, and I didn't learn this. I didn't try it until 1999. I wish I'd known about it in 1975. So I want to share it with every masonry contractor, every mason in the world. It's no big dark secret, okay? What it was up in Detroit. We were putting together a building. And I left for about 30 minutes, and when I came back, everybody was gone. I drove to the back of the building, about 80 foot of the wall. Every mud board was heapingly full, and there were 2 mud tubs up on the scaffold that were half full. I'm thinking, what is going on? Well, I found out that they'd had a shooting across the street, and the police made everybody leave, clear the area. So everybody got in their rigs and they went. Seemed like the police didn't care about the mud on the boards and the mud and the mud tubs and everything else, but whatever. It was Detroit, everybody had to get out of there. Well, I looked around and there were 3 of my trainees waiting for the bus. So I run down and told them to get in the truck. We came back and we got on the wall. Now, all the mud was put out, everything else, and I had 3 young men that didn't have 20 hours of training, okay? They could spread mud decent, a little. I mean, 20 hours, what do you know in 20 hours, okay? This is what makes this story unique. So, I put the line on the inside. We were on a corner. We got a scaffold here and going this way, so I took and drove a nail in the scaffold board, tied the line to it so I didn't have to build a lead. Went down about 80 feet, pulled the line real tight, spotted one. Came back to the corner, spotted one. I told one of the trainees, start spreading mud for me. He took off spreading. I told the other one, just keep the mud okay, empty the mud tubs, and in his spare time to joint the work. It jointed on both sides. Now these were colored, split face, 8-inch block. Probably weighed 50, 60 pounds. They're heavy little babies. And it was jointed on both sides. So I took off. One of them spreading for me, one of them handing me the block. All I had to do was just pick one end of it up. He helped me set it. I cut the mud off. Mud's the cheapest thing on the job. I cut the mud off on the inside. I had to, since they didn't even know how to throw a head joint. I had to get a trowel full of mud, throw the head joints, and by then he had another one standing there for me. So all I'm doing is this. That's all I'm doing. Well, we took off. In about 30 or 40 minutes, I looked at the young man who was handing me the block, and he was pale looking. He was starting to lighten up. This wasn't good because he was a black gentleman, a black American, okay? So I said, are you okay? And he said, man, I'm tired. You know, I'm just getting tired, you know. And I said, okay, well, you start spreading mud. I told another one to come down and start handing me the block. We took off. We burned up all the mud, okay? And when I said we burned up all the mud and everything else, just within 2 or 3 minutes, everything was jointed, brushed off, and rejointed. Everything was laid perfect, looked good. The walls looked real good, okay? So, very seldom do I ever count my block every day. In fact, my crew up in Alaska, whenever somebody would say, hey, how many block we lay today? I would say, or usually they'd beat me to the point and they'd say, not near enough. And that's right, you never lay near enough block. I mean, you know, you got to keep a little humor going. So I was kind of, Henry Ford, the assembly line, and I'm sitting there thinking, there was an adversity that I took advantage of. Anytime there's a problem, look for the benefit, okay? So here I had 3 guys standing there with 20 hours training, and we'd laid a bunch of block, but I didn't know how many. So I go down and I count the block. And I didn't believe it. I went back and I counted them again. About that time, the carpenter superintendent who had been hiding in the trailer, he come out. He'd been watching me. And he said, "Damn, Cummins, do you know how many block you laid?" And I said, "Well, how many did you get?" He said, "I got 198. And I said, "Well, I got 194. So one of us was right. But that was in 1 hour and 5 minutes. Okay? 1 hour and 5 minutes. One guy, even though I had 3 mules, we'll call them, or whatever, who had 20 hours of training, we laid 195 block in an hour and 5 minutes. Jointed on both sides. Colored split face, 8-inch block. Okay? Now, we couldn't have kept this pace up all day. I'd have killed all 3 of them. They'd have worked themselves to death. I couldn't believe I'd laid that many because I didn't even break a sweat. I mean, it was like I hadn't done nothing. But really, I hadn't done nothing because all I'm doing, they're standing there, handing the blocks here. All I'm doing is grabbing the block. The kid helped me set it. I cut the mud off, adjusted it. I had to go to the mud board, get a trowel full of mud, full of the head joints. He had another one there. So all I'm doing is this, okay? That would have been a tremendous amount of block. Well, we couldn't have done it for 18 hours. That's all there is to it. So that, my friends, is the secret of how. And at that time, I was 55 or 56 years old, and because it was 1999. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. All you got to do is get 2 or 3 wannabe. There's a lot of people wanting to learn this trade. You probably have a bunch of hotties working for you that have been lied to for 5 or 10 years. I'll teach you on the job. It ain't never going to happen, okay? Because these are my best students that I train, all right? So the bottom line is, don't be spending $240,000 because you got to have 3 of these mules to do a wall 75 feet long. That's $240,000. I had 3 back. I think we were paying the hotties $15 an hour. The helpers, beginners, $15 an hour in Detroit, maybe 20, in Detroit in 1999. Okay. So that's pretty cheap. It cost me, say, $60. It would have cost the contractor $60 to lay 195 block in an hour and 5 minutes. How much money do you need to make a day? Okay. Well, that pretty much concludes the deal. Let me just kind of say that anybody that comes to school that we train that finish a master mason course, when you finish a master mason course, you'll be able to lay 150 modular brick, 1 hour. You'll be able to lay 50 8/8/16 block in 1 hour. You'll be able to build all the corner leads, straight leads, using your level, 4-foot level. Build all your leads out of brick and block. The final drill is you'll build a 2-foot square brick chimney or pier, and you lay 100 brick in 1 hour. I beg your pardon, 2 hours or less. You build the same size pier out of 8-inch block. You lay 24 block in 1.5 hours, 1 to 1.5 hours out of block. Now all of this is jointed, brushed off and rejointed. Perfect quality. You can only lay a brick or a block so straight. We teach quality. When you can do that, you can go anywhere in the world and you're going to get top dollar on any job. I don't care if you're down south or you're up north or wherever you're at, because you take everything down south here every crew. You got bricklayers making $20 an hour, and you got them making 60 an hour or more. You get paid what you're worth, okay? And then up north, you're looking at, say, $30 to $100 an hour. I had a guy call me the other day from Boston. His scale was 97. He got about 57 on his check. They were taking, union was taking $30, $35, whatever it was, out of their check. There's money in this. So when you finish my course, you can be right up there in the top echelon of getting paid as a mason. So that pretty much concludes everything. If you would, hit the button there, subscribe. I'm giving away a free book, Secret of Squaring Up. If you want one, text me, answer our deal. I'll send you a copy of it. I've sold it for as much as $45. So if you want it, I'll give it to you. And keep the questions coming. And I'll let you know about this race if the mules want to race the old man. Okay? Take care and have a good day. Goodbye.